Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Ellie Jane and I like to make all sorts of videos, from cooking videos to dancing videos to videos like this where I'm just talking. So today I'm going to be talking about how I've been an employee for nearly 12 years of my life to now being a senior editor at my own agency with my business partner who also happens to be my life partner. All the things that I've learned from being an employee, all the things that I've learned since being self-employed, the pros and cons of both, and the journey that led me here. So first I want to talk about all the jobs that I've had so far and my education, how all these things led me to this moment. I think it's really crucial for me to share that it didn't just go from this to this. There was a lot of segueing and unplanned ventures that I went through. I think that's really important when you're watching videos like these, is to know all of that. But if you did want to skip to everything that I've learned from this journey and since I've been self-employed, you can skip to the timestamps below. So first, I got a job at Tim Hortons in high school when I was just 14. If you are a high school student or if you're old enough to get a job, I highly recommend it. It will teach you a lot about the value of money, and it's something that, you know, your parents can preach to you about, but it's something that you learn once you actually start working, what your energy actually equates to. I think at the time I was making like $12 an hour maybe. I think I was working almost all of high school. I used that towards my credits to graduate. So that's another plus to working while you're in school, is that you could probably get credits towards your graduation for it. It was a pretty stressful job. It helped me manage stress and to be comfortable talking to people, to strangers. I learned about how much respect these people deserve as employees in this industry. It's not an easy job and they are so underpaid for the crap that they have to deal with people. And then I worked at a food truck one summer at a festival for 10 days with my sister. We worked at two separate food trucks, and I worked at a pizza food truck. It was really hot. It was like 30 degrees working under the sun, and there were like 4 pizza ovens working behind me. It was crazy. And then Target came to Canada and they were hiring a lot of people. So my brother and I applied. Unfortunately, I didn't get the job and I cried about it, but my brother did. And then after high school, like many Asian kids, I had to go to school. At that point, I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. I didn't know what I was interested in. That was something that I never really thought about when I was younger. I wanted to be a teacher, but that slowly like dwindled away when I realized I'm not like a very patient person, and other people would debate that with me now. I've been called patient many times, but I just felt like it wasn't for me. And then I wanted to take a gap year, but I wasn't allowed. So I went to a university college. I don't know why it's called both things, but that's what it was. I decided, okay, well, if I don't know what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna take a bit of everything and see if I discover what I'm interested in. I was best at computer science, which was interesting, a little foreshadowing, I guess. Nearly got 100% in that class. It was so easy for me. Next, I loved Spanish, but not enough for me to continue learning just for those two things. So while I was in university college, I wanted to get another job. My aunt suggested that I apply to Sephora because at the time I was just getting into makeup. I wasn't allowed to wear makeup when I was younger. So at this point I was like 18 and I was wearing makeup more. Yeah, my aunt suggested that I should apply to Sephora and I was like, dude, there's no way I'm gonna get that job. I have no qualifications. I'm literally just like watching YouTube videos, learning how to do makeup myself. I was just like, whatever, what do I have to lose? So I applied. I got a group interview with 2 other women and they were far more qualified than I was. So after that interview, I was feeling pretty discouraged. I was like, okay, whatever, next. Surprisingly, I was called in for a second interview, had a one-on-one interview with her. I got the job. And I was like really surprised. I expected the other 2 girls to be hired as well, but I didn't see them. It's crazy that I didn't even think I was qualified for the job, and I ended up working there for over 5 years. I received a certificate and everything. So through Sephora's program, I became a certified makeup artist that required training, and you had to pass an exam basically where they test your skills and abilities. The first time I actually failed, and then I cried about it. In front of my managers. It was so embarrassing. The second time I passed, but those were like huge lessons for me, which I'll get into later. But I continued working as a certified makeup artist. They asked if I wanted to become a senior artist, which is basically as high up as you can go as a makeup artist in Sephora. I decided I didn't want to become a senior artist. I wanted to move on to other things because I was kind of getting tired of retail. Also, while I was working there, I started to lose my confidence, which I will get into in another video because there's a lot that I had to say about that. But let me know in the comments if you even want to see that video. I was growing tired of retail and I was like, what do I want to do next? I decided I wanted to go into dental assisting. I was like, what is a fast-paced program that I can do that kind of interests me? I love teeth, so I did some research and I found a dental college where you could do dental assisting in 8 months, I think it was. Dental school is already kicking my ass. While I was working at Sephora part-time, I was going to school downtown for dental assisting. That was the most that I've ever studied because it was a fast-paced program. I was constantly studying when I was on the train, when I got home and had dinner, like I was always studying. I graduated, got my certificate, and then I did my practicum at the place where I actually get my teeth cleaned. They were all like really kind to me and it was fun to do my practicum there, being with people that I was already familiar with. And I really wanted to work there, but they said they weren't hiring. And then after my practicum, they started calling me in for shifts and eventually I was employed as an RDA. I worked there for a while and then the pandemic hit. I was at home with most of my family. I was just like kind of stuck with my thoughts, like what am I gonna do now? Thankfully, the government gave us some money and then I just started wondering like how can I make money at home? At the time, like I was really into like watching like custom videos, like custom sneakers. And so I was like, why don't I try to do this? So I started painting my own sneakers. I started off with an Air Force One and I made a Bape custom. I was really proud of them. And then I moved on to more sneakers to practice. I did a Simpsons one for my little brother. And then I started selling them. I don't know how many I did, but I did a few. And I was like, this is cool. Like, how can I extend the money? Let me try YouTube. I started filming the whole process and editing my videos, posting them on my YouTube channel. Unfortunately, I'm still not monetized over 2 years later, but the video editing skills ultimately contributed to what I'm doing now, which we're slowly gonna get into. While I was doing that, I was still a part-time employee of Sephora, so they actually ended up letting me go along with several other people. They didn't give us a reason why. They said they legally weren't allowed to tell us or something. I don't know. I was like sad at first, but it was definitely a blessing in disguise because I kept telling myself like I wanted to leave that job and I never did because of the fear of not making money. And so I continued doing sneakers and YouTube, and then the clinic eventually called me back and they said that the clinic was reopened and that I'm welcome to come back whenever I'm ready. And at that point, like I was still debating if I wanted to come back. Eventually, like some time passed and I hadn't said anything and they said, okay, are you ready to come back yet? And I was like, you know what? I don't think I'm gonna come back. I just realized, you know, I was having so much fun filming and editing and painting, and I wasn't making the most money out of painting sneakers, you know? I was definitely making way more at my dental assisting job, but I was a lot happier. I didn't realize how stressed out I was at my dental assisting job until I wasn't working there. It just wasn't worth it to me. It was compromising my relationships. That ultimately led me to quitting my job, and I got a lot of pushback from the closest ones to me saying like, why would you quit that job? It was such a stable job. It was such a good job, but I wasn't happy. A lot of people value your monetary status more than your state of happiness, which is really sad. I've seen it where like people are like, I just want you to be happy, like do whatever you want to do. Okay, but where's the money though? Are you making money? And I totally understand it. Like you don't want to be a starving artist, as they say. But anyways, I'm kind of getting into a whole nother topic here. Let me come back. So eventually I grew tired of painting sneakers. I just wanted to do vlogs of like my day-to-day life, and I loved that whole process, just creating a story and just getting better and better as a video editor. After about a year of living away from my family, I developed this love for cooking, and like I knew how to cook at like a basic level, but I just want to learn more. So I looked at vegan restaurants because I am plant-based. I looked at vegan restaurants around me to see if anyone was hiring, and there were people hiring, but they needed people who were qualified, and I had no experience with the food industry other than Tim Hortons. So I was like, damn, that kind of puts me back, but I applied anyway. And then there was a place that I never even heard of until I was like really digging for a place to work at. It was basically like a small food vendor in kind of like a more upscale food court, I guess. So I applied there, I got the job, and so I was working there with someone else, and it was just the two of us. Eventually she quit, and then I was alone. It was like a totally different environment for me. It was completely independent. I wasn't assisting somebody. I wasn't working with 20 other employees. It was just me. I learned that I really enjoyed working by myself. It was so different. I could go on my own breaks. I can go to the washroom without having to tell anybody that I'm going to the freaking washroom. The investor opened up another location, and so I was working back and forth between the two, but mostly at the first one. And then eventually that restaurant got shut down. I was still working alone at the original place. So while this was happening, my partner and I were thinking of ways that we could make money together. And so we started an agency called Orange Leaf Digital. And initially our focus was helping businesses with ads. So my partner, he was in charge of finding leads. I would help with the ads later, but it was really, really slow. Like we weren't really getting any clients. He decided that we needed to pivot. And so we started finding people who needed short form content and helping them get that out, whether that be repurposing long form or helping them edit short form from scratch. Me, with all the experience that I got from my own videos, I was able to be the senior editor, and now we have a team of editors. But if you ever need help with video editing, reach out to me. My messages are always open to you. I was working part-time still at my job at the food hall, and it wasn't doing too well, so the investor sold it to someone else and said I could work at one of his other vendors. And at the same time, we were getting busy with our agency. We went from not having anybody to having multiple clients just back to back to back. Our business was just steadily growing. I was getting more busy because I was editing more videos for other clients while maintaining my own YouTube channel. And then I talked to KT about it, and we both decided like now is like a good time for me to just work with the business full time. I told him it's okay, like I'm good. Basically, like I quit. And again, like I could have quit sooner, but it was just the discomfort of not having someone pay me that kept me there for longer than necessary. Now I'm a full-time video editor for myself and for others. If you're looking for a video editor, let me know. I can do pretty much anything. Moving on to how it changed my everyday life. To be honest, being self-employed is actually quite similar to being an employee in a few ways. So first, the way that I structure my week is actually very similar to how it was before. Instead of working like a 9 to 5, I would say I work like a 6 to 4 or 6 to 3. My days actually go so fast because I'm doing something that I love and something that I can just really immerse myself in and just enjoy the process. I can wake up whenever I want. I can go to sleep whenever I want. I can have my meals whenever. I can go on break whenever. I can pee whenever. I can take my breaks as long as I want. But again, that is also another thing, is that the business will only move as fast as you let it. If you decide one day that you're gonna take a day off, nothing's gonna get done. Being able to take breaks whenever you want is a good and a bad thing because it's your choice, but at the same time, it can compromise your business. But ultimately, it taught me to be disciplined. I have a consistent wake up and sleep schedule. I eat consistently. And it also forced me to be more attentive to my physical activity every day. I've been doing yoga very consistently, and I love yoga. It's like my favorite physical activity to do. Next, it forced me to be organized because I have so many things that I have to pay attention to. I really have to plan out my days, my weeks. I even plan my content for like the month. For my YouTube, for example, I have my schedule set out until September. I do that through Notion. If you guys want a Notion template tour thing, let me know and I can provide that to you guys as well. But yeah, you really do have to hold yourself accountable for everything until you're able to expand your team and get people to help you out with that, with like a VA. Work-life balance has also been more important to me now. I try not to work after dinner. I will do that occasionally if I get last-minute projects that come in and I have to do those. But I do make a big effort to see my family at least once a week. I make time for myself, which is also so important. I find that I do need time to be alone and just read, or a little bit of media consumption, watch a show, you know, getting some fresh air, going for a walk. I love going for walks, especially now that it's getting warmer. And I also learned that your growth, in my position anyway, it's infinite. I don't have to necessarily go to school. When I was doing dental assisting, if I wanted to move up, I would have had to go back to school school to become a hygienist. And then after that, I would have to go back to school to become a doctor. You just have to keep going back to school. You have to keep committing your time and money, which is honestly the same thing. You have to commit both of those things to level up. And for me, if I want to level up, I don't necessarily have to go back to school. My skills as an editor, like I can keep expanding. Like I can learn more techniques. I can learn how to make things smoother. I can learn about motion graphics. Those are all things that I can learn from YouTube. I've learned that a lot of the skills that I've acquired were just from doing things. Like I said, like editing my own videos, I've learned so much about pacing, cutting, scaling, storytelling. Like there's so much that I've learned just from doing this on like my free time. I was happier doing something that wasn't making me any money, aka YouTube, compared to something that was making me the most amount of money that I've ever made at the time, but I wasn't happy at all. Like I was like stressed. I wasn't doing something that was inspiring me. I didn't feel like I was growing. I felt like there was just like a cap, and I felt like I was just like working under someone. I just felt like I was capable of doing so much more. Something that was like mentally stimulating, challenged my creativity. I was like dreading going to work, and I was like, I cannot live the rest of my life dreading 5 days of the week. I can't live for the weekend. That is the trap that we fall into, is that be happy with your job because it makes you money, and the weekend is like a fraction of your life. I'm not telling everyone to be self-employed by any means. I just think if you're not happy at your job, you can do something about it. That's something that I struggled to see. Me going to dental assisting school made me think that having a different job would make me happier, which is the case for some people sometimes, but it wasn't for me. It makes better money, but it wasn't something that I genuinely was like interested in to the extent that I thought I was. Video editing, I can do day in, day out. I look forward to it. I love the creative aspect. I love how it challenges me to be a better editor, and I love just making like our clients happy with what they receive and exceeding their expectations. It's just like, it's so rewarding to create something, to take something that they give to me, aka their clips or whatever, and to create something that either is exactly how they imagined or better. There's something really gratifying about that. And again, it challenges me as like a creator to imagine something and bring it to life. But yeah, being self-employed has really shifted my perspective on work and what it means to do something that is fulfilling for yourself, for your life. If you're in a position where you're not sure what you want to do, you're unhappy with your job, whether you're making a lot of money or a little bit of money, really prioritize moments with yourself. If you have a moment to like scroll on your phone or read a book or watch a show, instead like just sit with yourself in silence. You can either talk to yourself mentally or out loud, but ask yourself, what is something that I would want to do every day, regardless if it made me money? What would I want to do every day? You could joke around and be like, I want to do nothing all day, but realistically that gets boring. So when you're bored, like what do you want to do? So for example, say you just want to travel. How can you travel and make money? Think about that. There are many ways that you can travel and make money. You need to work a remote job. How can you find a remote job that you're willing to do? So for me, I love video editing and I can work remote as long as I have the equipment. That's something I'm working towards because the equipment that I need is quite expensive to be able to edit the videos that I make, and just go from there. Just how can I make this happen? And eventually you will find your answer. You don't need motivation, you actually need discipline. And I didn't realize this until I read it. It's so true. People always say, oh, I need motivation to like get out of bed. I need motivation to cook for myself, go to work, to finish this task, to work out. And no, you actually need discipline. If you do not practice discipline, it will be harder for you to do these things every day. So if you think about it, you brush your teeth every day, I hope, because you're disciplined to do so. I do not go a day without brushing my teeth twice and flossing once. It is something that I have made my daily routine. Just as disciplined I am with eating, I will eat every day. You can be disciplined with brushing your teeth. You can be disciplined with literally anything that you want to do on a consistent basis, as long as you tell yourself, like, I'm doing this for me. I'm doing it for my well-being. I'm brushing my teeth so that my teeth don't rot. lot. I am exercising, I am practicing meditation, I am doing this to show up for myself, to respect my body, my mind, to nurture it, to show love for myself. That is what you need. You don't need motivation. If this video helped you at all, please give it a thumbs up. Again, I'm not telling everybody to be self-employed. Do what makes you happy. And if being an employee is what makes you happy, by all means do it. Just do it the best way that you can. Show up as your best self. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.